Hello, Bookish Babes. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are reviewing Lauren Roberts' viral booktok book, Powerless.
Yeah, so join us with this cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
All right. Let's do this.
All right, everyone. We are so excited to have this episode today. Just so everyone knows, if this is your first time watching our podcast, we have a couple sections. This one that you are entering in right now with us is our NS non-spoiler section. We like to give the opportunity that if you're interested in the book but don't want it spoiled for you, we have this little segment for you to kind of get an idea and our overall thoughts to see if this is worth you spending the money to read.
Yes. Going into that, Powerless is a fantasy post-apocalyptic world where after a plague, we see you, COVID, people began to be born with like supernatural powers known as the elites. And then by the time the book takes place, all of the ordinaries, the people without powers, are being like executed on sight. Which brings us to the first of our two main characters. This is a dual POV book. Hayden, which was super fun to have this discussion today and to read a book where the main character's name is basically Peyton.
I know. Crazy.
Who obviously doesn't have powers. She's going to be one of the ordinaries. And then after stealing from our morally gray prince, our other POV characters, is forced to compete in what is known as the trials, and it's like basically the Hunger Games. It's a series of competition where people die and stuff. And she's like forced to compete in this because she drew a lot of attention to herself with an encounter early in the book with Kai, our other main character. Okay.
Yes. So it's so funny. I like dual read this, meaning I listened to the audiobook and I also read it on my Kindle. And hence why we don't have physical copies, because we also were unsure if we wanted to actually invest in this series. And so when the narrator reads Peyton, I was like, it's weird. Peyton isn't like a normal, it's not like Kate or like, I don't know, Sarah, right? Like, it's just not a name you hear all the time. You should have seen my face when I was like, what? And so I was like, well, what if she looked like me? Looked up fan art, looks nothing like me.
No.
Peyton has like silver hair, like blue eyes, like not me.
Yeah.
Same name though, and I like her attitude, so it works out. But yeah, listen, we have a dual POV, everyone. Which, if you've seen the podcast before, you know my feelings about dual POV. But guess what? I liked it. I liked this dual POV.
Shocking.
I know she's changing. She's growing.
Oh my. That's
growing. I loved it. I loved the dual POV in this.
Yeah. I do think it did a lot for the book. Like, we needed that dual POV for the story that was being told, because there were a lot of things going on with Kai as the prince that, like, you wouldn't get to know those things or see those things if you were just in Peyton's head as, like, an ordinary coming in. But she has to be a secret ordinary. She's pretending to be elite, which I didn't say in the summary, but, like, that's a huge thing, is she can't let anyone know she doesn't have powers, because otherwise, you know, they'll kill her.
Yeah, they'll kill her. So she kind of has to compensate, and there's this whole other side where they kind of teach you to make it and fake it until you make it, and she's really good at that. So this book really is just such an adventure, and I see how this book is really setting up for a whole series. I do think it's important to go, and because this is our non-spoiler section, just get into how we really feel about the book. And then if you've read the book, come and hear our thoughts on like the actual plot points, which are going to get juicy.
Sorry, I turned the mic off for a second. I like hit the button.
Yeah, no. So the cool thing here is Aubrey and I have not talked about this book at all. A lot of times we'll kind of get an idea of different plot points, and we'll you know, kind of will cheat a little bit. But I did know Aubrey's overall feeling about and how she would come into this book review. So come on, give it to us. Give us the tea.
I feel so guilty. I feel insanely guilty because I did not enjoy this book. I did not like it. It was not for me. I went into this book super excited. The only thing I had seen about this book is positive reviews. I was thinking this was going to be in my top 5. I follow Lauren Roberts on TikTok and she seems so fucking cool and amazing. I was so excited to get into this and I only finished the book. The only reason I didn't DNF it was so we could cover it on the podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I think that this book is a carbon copy of Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And Lauren Roberts, even in her marketing of this book, like she says it's Red Queen meets the Hunger Games, which it is. And like that's such a fair take, like to have your work be inspired by other pieces of work. And like I mean I loved Fourth Wing, and Fourth Wing feels just like Divergent and other books that you've read, but it felt too close for me. And I don't know, because I love books like that and I love so many like them, and I thought I was gonna love this book and I didn't like it, and I have mean thoughts about it and I feel so bad about it.
No, that's fair. Like, that's how you feel. I haven't read Red Queen, so maybe I'd have a different point of view if I did. Though I know Hunger Games very well, and I will say sometimes I would cringe because I'd be like, "Oh, okay, this is like Gale, Peeta, Katniss thing coming." Like, I don't know. Like, I just felt like sometimes like, ugh. And then even they didn't go full Hunger Games. It felt more just like trials, and we're like, oh, we're gonna see like how you do with this. Like, it didn't feel so like intense the way the Hunger Games is. So yeah, I liked this book. I'm excited to read the next one. I did not know that Aubrey like would DNF this book though. I really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. I did not fall in love with the main love interest as I thought I would compared to some other books. I appreciated her ability to create a character that it didn't turn into like a full-on romance book. I kind of liked the cat and mouse. I mean, obviously later in the series, maybe we'll see. The thing is, like, I don't know where the series is going. Like, it left very kind of like open-ended, and I think that the last half of this book, Aubrey said this to me before, it just flies. Like, you just fly through the last part of the book, and I really liked it. I liked the characters. The world building was great. It was easy to world build because it really is just a carbon copy of Hunger Games, and as Aubrey said, Red Queen. I mean, I think it's really great that she was like, hey, like, the fact that in her marketing she was like, this is like these books. That's like
fair. That's the pinned TikTok on her page.
Right. I think if she would skirt around the idea, I'd be a lot more like put off by the series as a whole. But I like the idea. Usually our female leads in and fantasy novels are all kind of the same, just with different hair color. And she just chose silver, which is kind of badass and cool. But yeah, I mean, the writing style is super accessible. I liked it. I love when we have difference of opinions on things, because it just adds for a spicy, like, and then our community gets to be like, no, that book actually sucked, and some people are like, what the hell did you guys read? Like, this book rocked. I love the difference of opinions.
I do have to say, I already put my Goodreads review in, and I gave it 3 stars. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. And maybe I should have given it like 2.5, but I just feel so guilty. But my sister, who's a huge reader as well, texts me and she goes, Powerless, 3 stars. And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't really like it." And she was, like, fighting with me. Like, not really, but she was like,
Yeah,
"I
but
don't
just yeah.
understand." She's like, "That was my top read of the year." She's like, "I loved that book." And I was like, "I know." And then I was, like, being a little mean. Um, and she was like,
Of course, it's your sister.
"It's so wild." She's like, "I can't believe," and, like, it was, like, a big, it wasn't a fight, but it was just funny that she's
It's
like, "I was
yeah.
obsessed with this book." And I was, like, digging into it and being like, "Well, I was like, "It's fan fiction, actually," and, like, I was being a bitch, and it was crazy.
Reader controversy and arguments are the best because we're all coming from
Yeah.
a good place, but we
Mhm.
also are like, but you're wrong.
But you're like, I
But like
know.
you're
I
wrong.
just I it makes me so upset that I didn't like this.
If
But
you
I
didn't,
think
yeah.
okay, is it original? No. It is like I would love to hear from someone who read the Red Queen books and also read Powerless that
Yes.
liked it, because my sister also didn't read the Red Queen books, and like there are scenes that are the same. Like it's not just like the world building feels familiar, which it does, but like there are like literal like carbon copy scenes. Like Red
Wow.
Queen is introduced by the main character stealing from one of the two Prince brothers, and Powerless starts with the main character stealing from one of the two Prince brothers. Like there are
Yeah,
scenes
that gives
that
you a
are
bad
the
taste in
same.
your mouth. It gives you
And
bad taste. I'd love to hear what
yeah,
Victoria Aveyard thinks.
me too. I would love to have her read it. But I think that I would have been able to get past that if I was enjoying other things in the book. But
Okay.
it felt like there's a ton of like epic moments in this book, and there's a ton of like really strong like zinger one-liners that she
Yeah.
uses to promote the book, and that sound awesome. And there's great scenes, but they all to me felt unearned, and I can get into this more in the spoiler section. But I
Right.
felt like every that we were missing like the exposition of this book,
Okay.
where immediately like the dynamic between the two POV characters starts the same on the first page and doesn't change really at all until like the very end of the book.
Alas.
It
Yeah, that's fair.
They have this
First
like
book in the
immediate
series too.
Yeah, they have this immediate dynamic that it's like, would you actually act like that with a person you've never met before? All of the things that she goes through, like I just felt like there were so many things missing. And I also am confused a little bit by the world building. Like it felt like it's like the book felt to me undercooked. And I feel like it could be such an amazing book if it just had time to cook a little bit more. My jaw was on the floor when I got to the end of this book and was reading the acknowledgments and found out that it's traditionally published with Simon & Schuster. It was originally an indie published book, but has since been picked up by Simon & Schuster, gone through with a Simon & Schuster editor, and I feel like maybe they just wanted to keep it close to the original and couldn't do hard edits. And so I'm more excited for book 2, because then it will have started with the editor.
Let's see how book 2 is. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people don't like A Court of Thorns and Roses, but when you get to A Court of Mist and Fury,
yes,
it changes. Who knows? She could take the story in because I gave ACOTAR, like this is actually a perfect example. I gave A Court of Thorns and Roses like 3 stars. I was like, it was a good book, but the whole time I'm like, this is Beauty and the Beast. Like, I know what's gonna happen, and this isn't fun. Yeah. Okay? I read A Court of Mist and Fury, and until Fourth Wing came around, that was my favorite book. Because she took the story and just made it her own. And just just rode off into the sunset. Well, like they all flew off into the sunset. Yeah. So I think this has potential. So that is why I'm gonna give it a 4. Because I did enjoy it. And even going back and forth from audiobook to my Kindle, sometimes I miss that's a reader error. Yeah. But hey, I didn't, and I feel the guilt, Aubrey. I didn't love Divine Rivals, and everyone loved Divine Rivals. And I'm reading Ruthless Vows right now, and it's just something about the characters and just the writing, and just I want, and we say this about the Atlas 6. Like, I love Ollie V. Blake. Like, One for My Enemy is one of my favorite books, but just Atlas 6 just doesn't do it for me. So, it's one of those things. So,
and it's like, said, it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
but, like, I'm not trying to like yuck anyone's
hate on it.
I know that there's people that love this book, and you have every right to love this book. It's not a bad book.
Correct. So, like, my opinion is we have a 3-star and a 4-star. I think I recommend it. Aubrey says maybe just wait till the second one comes out and see if it's for you. I'm curious to see what we'll think about the second one. But with that being said, those are our rants. Take that for what it is. It's rare for us to be like 50-50, like just choose. This is actually really rare for us. Usually we're like, this book sucked, don't read it. We're like, wow, this book was amazing, and we can't shut it down. So with that being said, let's enter our spoiler section. If you do not want spoilers or anything, please leave, but come back. And before you leave, please go down and hit the subscribe button. We're almost to 100. I don't know if we've hit it yet. So please subscribe,
we're so close,
like the video, comment like what you think, if you're gonna read it or not, and then if you do choose to read it, come back. And if you want it spoiled for you, just stay. I do that too. I'm like, I'm not gonna read that book, but I want to know what happens. So,
I want to know everything.
Yes, correct. That's especially horror books. I'm like, tell me everything.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not reading that.
But I can't sit through it.
So with that being said, we're not in our spoiler section. Aubrey, lead us into this enemies to lovers plot line that these fantasy novels love so much.
Yes. Are they? It's like this book with Kai and Peyton. It's not enemies to lovers, it's enemy lovers. Just the whole time is enemy lovers, because they never get super soft with one another, but like they're so fucking horny for each other from page 1.
Yeah, it's horny. They're just horny.
It is. And like, okay, Kai is obsessed with her, and I think that is why the dual POV works in this book, because there's tension, but there's not tension in the way a lot of enemies to lovers are like, we absolutely hate each other, and then like it moves down the line and it's like a will they, won't they, and like you never know when things are gonna happen. That's not how this enemies to lovers work. It's just enemy lovers. And Kai is just obsessed with her. He is obsessed with her. I think there's a line from the book where it's, if she's gonna hate me, I want it to be because like she desires me so much. Like, he is so clearly head over heels for her that being in his head doesn't spoil anything.
No, and the thing is, they're just like hot for each other. But on Peyton's side, she feels a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Because she is being very sneaky. And so I think she tries to keep him at arm's distance, but she also really likes him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I honestly, I like his quirky, kind of egotistical asshole personality, because she's kind of like that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's like, you guys are perfect for each other because you just are bred from the same crop. Like, they work. So I really enjoy their dynamic. But yeah, I definitely feel like, even though she is like, especially with Kit, she's like, he looks like the man that killed my father.
Yeah.
Which we know at the end, that plot twist. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. But yeah, I definitely don't think they're super enemies. I think it's more so like a curiosity of like, oh, well, you're from like the slums and you're the prince and
Yeah.
And then it was really awkward because I felt bad for Kit a lot of the time, because I felt like he was being used a lot, and I seriously think he is our next villain.
Oh, for sure. The way that was set up, and like, guys, I wish you have read Red Queen, and I'm not here to spoil Red Queen, because I think if you liked this book and you read it first, Red Queen is an amazing book to read, but I was very interested in this like love triangle with Kit and Kai, and obviously, I mean, okay, here's the thing. We don't know how this series is going to end, but we know that Kit and not Kit, Kai and Peyton are going to end up together. Like they're the two POV characters. Unless Kai dies, they're going to end up together. But so I was interested to see like how far it would go with Kit, because in the Red Queen there's a love triangle and you do not know like I feel like sometimes you can tell, and there's a twist to the love triangle eventually, but like you do not know which prince she's gonna end up with, whereas I feel like it's very clear in this one. And so I wanted to know, like, are you rooting for Kit a little bit, even though he's probably gonna be the villain in next book?
I feel bad for Kit because I think he's a really sweet guy. The best way to describe Kit in my head is like Kit's the sweetheart, right? But he knows that. Like he has some trauma and he has a crush on Peyton, but I feel like, you know, like the Bridgerton setup where it's like, oh, maybe this guy will be good and like he's sweet, but I also really like this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. I seriously think that Kai is endgame, especially the last line of the book. Oh my god. So Kai is endgame. Kai is going to like see the light, and I do think he is the one that's going to protect her. Kit is pissed off. Kit hasn't lived the life Kai has lived. In my head, if all this shit didn't go down at the end of the book like it did, I seriously think that Kit would have ended up with like a sweet girl, like a comforting, motherly type of girl. Peyton's not that. I told you, Peyton's an ass. Like she's mean. Like she's rough, and so is Kai. So no, I never was really rooting for Kit. I was rooting for Kit to see the world in a different lens, like through Peyton's eyes, and then maybe kind of pivot. Because Kit also knew that Kai was infatuated with her. Like like he knew as well. So, but it's really awkward. Also on her part. But she also was never like, I like you and you. She was kind of like doing her own thing, and then would kind of like have like flirtatious tension moments with each of them. Especially Kai.
Yeah, she was leading Kit on. Like I think at first she just wanted to be his friend and like become this like advisor to him. And then when the rebellion's like, hey, you need to get shit out of him, flirt with him, then obviously she was leading Kit on. Whereas Kai, I think she was very like, I actually like you and I need to protect myself with you, and like that type of conscious feelings. I feel like had the book not ended where it ended, like I hate the rebellion, okay? I hate the rebellion. I feel like if they hadn't existed or hadn't done what they done at the end of the book, I think that Peyton could have like taken Kit, like say, okay, trials are over, she doesn't win, but she still like stays in the castle, they give her some type of position, she kind of flirts the line between the two boys. I think Kit would have made her a royal advisor. Say the king dies a different way eventually, I think Kit would have listened to Peyton, and I think she could have gotten evidence and proof for Kit that the Ordinaries are not weakening the bloodline, and he would have changed. I think he could have ended. He's like a very much a product of his system, and would have been willing to change. And now he's not. Now I think he's full villain. Like unless he has a redemption arc at the very like last book.
No, he's our villain.
Yeah,
he's our villain. No matter like kind of what he sees now, he just has a bad taste in his mouth. I would have loved to see like a kidnapping. Like she like kidnaps him.
Yeah.
And like we see this a lot where the girl gets kidnapped in fantasy novels. It would have been so cool for her to like take him, and then Kai has to hunt them down.
There's still time.
I know there is still time. That'd be so badass. But the thing is, like, there has to be some sort of evil now, or like the opposing side.
Yeah.
And, like, that is Kit. But I
Mhm.
just think he has a sour taste in his mouth now. Like, he's pissed at her. I mean,
Yeah.
I was not expecting her to freaking kill the king. Like,
No, that was right away. That's crazy.
yeah, I was like,
Like,
wait, we're gonna kill him right now? And,
uh-huh.
like, I thought someone would, like, break in and, like, he would survive. You know, like how, like,
Mhm.
in books, it's like, oh, we fought once. Okay. We fought again. Okay. It's like Harry
Yeah.
Potter and Voldemort. It's like, okay, when are you guys
Mhm.
actually just gonna, like, have your brawl and, like,
Right.
something's that never happens on, like, the first time. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, her stabbing, and when Kai's, oh my god. So I don't know if we're gonna get to the end of the book yet, but I wanna go back to the trials quick, and then we can get to the end of the book.
Yeah.
And the rebellion. Yeah, the rebellion leaves a bad taste in my mouth because, like, I understand what they're trying to prove, but, like, they're not any better. Like, they're breaking into the castle. They're like, they have suicide bombers. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not, like, ethical. Like, I understand, like, they're killing you and you want to kill them, but,
Mhm.
like, the rebellion's like, we want to show them that, like, we're not bad people. But I'm like, but you are.
Yeah, it's just I think
But,
that's
like, you
part
are.
for me, I think that's part of the like underdevelopedness of this book where like obviously, okay, we have the tyrant king, we have the like ordinaries who we need to like at the end of the day, ordinaries end of the series have to have like be equal now and be liberated and whatever. Cool. You have that fantasy setup. Obviously, you're also going to have the opposing force, the rebellion. Main character can't do it on her own. But we just like she just stumbled into their lap, like the fact that she found that note in the first book and then she's immediately like granted into these like it was just I was just like I feel like I'm missing like a scene or two. Like the guard could have
Yes,
like kind of
exactly.
talked her into it, kind of like got her to show up. There could have been a little bit more. And then their plan is the stupidest fucking thing you've ever heard. She gets the like access to the tunnels so easily. Even like Kit trusts her completely at the drop of a hat for what? Because she's pretty?
Yeah.
At like it just like things aren't clicking and it feels like, oh, we knew there's going to be rebellion, like there needs to be rebels. And so we just have them and they're just kind of doing a thing and but what they did is very similar to something that happens in Red Queen, like the rebellion factor in Red Queen. But in Red Queen, there's a reason for it and it makes sense. And I feel like in this
Right.
book, she's like, okay, in Red Queen, the rebellions show up at this moment and do this thing. I needed to have that happen, but like there wasn't a good reason for it.
Correct.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do feel like there's some missing plot points. Like, she just stumbled in the rebellion, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, Peyton," and she's like,
Perfect.
like, "Oh, we were expecting you." And who, like, and you may need to help me with this. So, in the
Yeah.
rebellion, what's his name, Lenny or something?
Lenny is the guard, right? That's her guard.
Oh, I thought there was someone in the rebellion that like kind of had the hots for her, or is just really
There's
kind to her.
that random
What's that
guy.
dude's name? Yeah.
Okay, so there's the random guy that she steals from in the beginning and then sees again, and he's like a little flirty with her. But like they don't really have like a
Yeah.
relationship or anything. And then there's
Yeah.
I think Lenny is her knight, her guard, who also is part of the rebellion. And he's also like a little like he's very nice and like familiar with her, but I think he's gay. And there's no evidence in
Oh.
the page for that. That's
You're
just
like,
me.
he's gay. Okay, love that. Yeah, I once again, like when you go from audiobook to Kindle, sometimes you're like, wait,
Yeah.
yes, okay, that's that character. Yeah, so crazy. Yeah, I agree with the rebellion stuff. Like, I was just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like there's just like, also with Kit trusting her so much, like as like going off of that, I feel like I would have liked to see more manipulation from her, like a scene that like to really be like, wow, he like there's a lot of trust in this, or like maybe she had to like show or like kill someone or like do something
Yeah.
to show him, like, I don't care, like, these, like, fucking ordinaries, like, whatever. You know, like, I think that would have, I don't know. I just felt like he was so trusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because she's pretty, like, that's stupid.
Well, and
The
I
trials
feel like,
too.
yeah,
Like,
I
just
don't
like the
know.
trials in general. I'm just like, okay. And then during the trials, I'm like, oh, people are gonna die. And then the
But, like,
last trial,
also,
she even said something like, well, no one has died yet, so.
I don't understand the reason behind the trials at all. They make no fucking sense. Okay, we have these trials set up to, like, prove to the people why ordinary shouldn't exist because we're so big and powerful. Which is like, okay, like the Hunger Games exist to, like, prove to the people why, like, they shouldn't revolt against the Capitol. But in the Hunger Games, the people who are going through the trials are the district people, right? In this book, it's the elite. Like, it's the prince's, like, cousin guy, the, like, top noble people. Then why are they dying? Why would you ever, and I don't know how often it happens. Because this is only, like, this is the 6th of them, and it's been 30 years. So, like, why is it, like, gap of time between them?
Yeah, in my head, you should take people from the slums or whatever they're called and, like, make them fight. And then like, I could see if it's, like, a royalty, like, let's entertain ourselves and watch people kill each other because we don't care about their lives. Like, sure, that's, like, shitty, but, like, that's a plot point. If I was the editor, I would have been like, hey, let's take these trials out and, like, form something similar that, like, makes more sense. Because to me, I understand that Lauren Roberts wanted to integrate, like, Peyton's people and the elites somehow, and that is how they do that. And she obviously becomes very the Katniss, like when Katniss wore her, like, fire dress, and, like, she shows up to the ball not wearing green. Like, I understand she's supposed to be, like, the people's person, but I just don't think it was executed well. And that's, like, where I agree with you. That's where I felt like it was missing stuff. It was confusing, if anything. It was just confusing. There was things missing.
Why would you want your elites to be killed? Why would you want your noble people to be killed? And if it's just to show of strength, to be like, look how much cooler we are, then, like, you could have literally everything be the same, but it draws a line that you can't kill people. If we stop it so that way they're not that you can get super injured because we have healers that will instantly bring you back, then that would make sense. But why are we killing our nobles? Why are we letting our prince into this situation? Why would you want that? And how does that prove that you're more powerful? You're dying. How is dying on screen prove that you're powerful?
Yeah. And even them having, like, the people that are, like, the screens, like, it reminds me, like, when, like, Peeta and Katniss are in that cave and they kiss.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone sees it on the screens. I was like, guys. And then in this book, like, their thing is, like, dancing. Like, they like, like, that's their way of, like, having sex in the book is they dance. Which, whatever. But, like, the screens,
their way of having sex. Do you just mean intimacy? You just mean, like, like, that's how they're intimate is they dance? Like, they're not
like,
actually,
in fantasy novels, usually, like, they meet each other and have sex right away. But, like, in this book, they slow dance. But, yeah, that's, like, their, like, peak intimacy.
Which is from Red Queen.
Oh.
The dancing scenes are also from Red Queen. Competitions and training against elite are also from Red Queen.
I had to read Red Queen and then give my actual
The idea that, like, every person has their own little special X-Men power is from Red Queen. I do want to say, okay, because I'm getting negative
shitting
here.
on the book.
I want to say that something that I really enjoy in this book, and I hope it stays true because we do have a series coming, is that, like, the title of this book is Powerless. The concept is that Peyton does not have powers and is holding her own in this world and is fighting for those who do not have powers to exist equally around there. And if she, as long as she never gets powers, I think that's sick as hell. I think very not very often do we have a main character who doesn't become like the most powerful person in the world. The only other series I can think of is Cruel Prince, where the main character is just a human. And that's something that I love about Cruel Prince, and so that's something that I really enjoy. Like, I don't think it's earned. I don't think it makes sense how she's like so smart in some of these scenes. But like the idea that she is just like outsmarting them, pretending to have these psychic abilities, the fact that she doesn't have powers and is finding ways to like deal with that is a sick concept, and I really have to like give it up to Lauren Roberts for that.
Yes, like let's do a Jude. Like I like, and I really like Peyton's character. Like I do need to say that, even though the plot is not wonderful at times. I really think she has built a strong main character, and I hope that that is brought into the next book, which takes us to the ending. Oh my gosh. Okay, she does the whole, he like puts an O above her heart, which is crazy. That is coming back, and that is going to be a huge thing that will help her when Kai finally catches her, because that will happen. My favorite part of the whole book, and I'm going to go right to the ending here, is when he says, I don't know the exact line, but he goes, well, that's good because I don't have the courage yet. Or like when she's hiding in the fireplace.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who doesn't look up a fireplace? Like, they were scouring the whole house. He's like, there's a secret room probably behind that bookcase. But like, we're not. And also, I'm the whole time like, I can't even hold myself. Like, sitting up straight for too long hurts. Like in a fireplace, like with all your gear on, like, bro. And so, but when he's like, well, I'm happy you're not here because I don't have the courage yet. And I knew the minute that one of two things went through my head. When he made all the guards leave, he's like, you guys suck anyways. I thought he knew where she was.
Yeah.
And he
like,
was
I know where you are.
I know where you are.
Give her a second chance to get away.
Yeah. I thought that was going to set up the next book. Kind of like he had a change of heart and was like, let's kind of like he switches sides, like the rebellion, but it's going to use his power on the other side to kind of like manipulate shit, which I obviously will be coming in the next books. I mean, come on, it's I've read enough fantasy. I think we all have. But I just, oh my god, that last line like just stabbed me through the heart, where he's like, I'm like basically like, what? I'm happy you're not here because I don't have the courage yet, and then he leaves.
Well, and that sets up so what, like, that proves, like, his character, he just always, like, he was in love with her immediately.
Yes.
And so, like, being like, I don't think I can do this to you yet. Like, I'm not back there. Like, Lauren Roberts put on her TikTok, she was like, oh, and, like, you end the book so that way your enemies to lovers, like, reset. She was like, oh, they're, like, enemies to lovers to enemies again, so my enemies to lovers resets. I mean, it's enemy lovers, but then in this one, and I think it's still enemy lovers, but that idea of, like, bringing it back around so we can have another book of them, like the tension is, I mean, that's good. That's good.
We saw this recently in another book series, wink, 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 that we may have read in November, wink, wink, wink. But, like, for real, though, like, I can't wait for the next book now, because the way that shit ended, I was like, like, jaw on the floor, like, this is what I need from you, Lauren. Like, this shit is fantastic. I really think the next book's gonna be great, especially with everything we talked about on the publishing industry side of things. I think we're gonna see a pop-off book so much that we're gonna be like to everyone, hey, just get through the first book, get to the second one. How many times have we said that to people? Get to the second book. Like, people sometimes shit on the Cruel Prince, and I'm like, dude, get to Wicked King. Like, just get to the second book. Trust me. Like, seriously,
and I'm
me.
also hoping that the second book drifts further away from the Red Queen plot line.
Yes.
Because, like, I feel like it's gonna have to go in different directions, especially because, anyways, it doesn't matter. I didn't know how to say. I was gonna say something, and there's no way to say it without spoiling.
That's fair.
But the end drifts in a different direction. I'm also I love the fact that they both killed each other's fathers. Like the fact that it was revealed that Kai killed her dad, which
And
is
then
also wild because the whole time,
POV.
the whole book, she's looking at Kai and just seeing him as like a guy she likes. And then she's looking at Kit and she's like, "You're like your father. I can't not see your father when I look at you." But actually, it was Kai who killed her dad, and then she killed his dad, and like, but they also both have like a good excuse for it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good excuse to get back into the enemy's plotline. Oh my gosh, yeah. And what do you think's gonna happen to her knife or the dagger? Like that has to come back around. It's also on the front cover of the book, so
yeah.
She's like, I have to run back and get my dagger. Like that's a huge plot point that will come back around.
Yes, I wonder. There's probably like a piece of paper in it or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like,
do you think like Kai has it on him?
Yes, I think Kai will have it with him the entirety of next book, and I think it'll be like book 3 that like we take that like it breaks and the hilt comes off, and we find that there's like something in the dagger.
Yeah, I can just see a scene in the next book of him like, you know, like the meme or whatever that's like, man, she's just the worst, but dude, I like her. Like, I just like her, man. Like I don't know, I just like her.
Just like her.
I just see him like in the next book, like twiddling with like her dagger and be like, I just like her, man.
Yeah.
He did kill her dad, so it's only fair
but he doesn't know that
her kill his. Yeah.
He doesn't know that he killed her dad. Like he thinks he just like it was like his first kill. Like he has no idea that was her dad. Why would he know that it was her dad?
Well, didn't he literally go into the house where he killed, like, and she's there? I don't know. Maybe he didn't put it together.
But
I don't know. I may have missed that. Then maybe on me. That's crazy.
Was that?
I just need her to be like, but you killed my dad.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I might have missed something too. But like, because the king reveals that it was Kai who killed her dad. But I feel like if he knew, like that would have been in his thoughts at some point throughout the book. Like I don't think he knows. I don't think he put together that his like first kill.
He probably would have said something. Yeah, we would have seen that guilty conscience the same way we saw it from her. Yeah, you know what? That's true. I think that'll be a realization in the next book that will help him kind of fully turn his ideologies and how he sees the ordinaries. I mean, he knows now, so, but he loves her. Just the idea of when he's like, I'm giving you a head start because I will come after you, and when I catch you, like, I will not show you mercy, kind of. And just seeing her run away, like, oh my gosh. That in a movie, my director mind is like, that is gonna be an impactful scene. I don't know. Read the book for the like. I'm just like the ending of this book is just so awesome. I don't remember, and I don't care. I don't give two flying craps about the trials or anything.
No. There was a lot of like stuff that I feel like she put in just because it was in these other books.
Also character
and
building.
I feel like we could have spent more time like developing our characters, developing the plot, and like earning those epic scenes, because the scenes were fucking epic. They just were missing like the connection. It was just like, oh, how'd we get here?
Correct, like the plot points. So yeah, so our next book, I believe it's called Reckless.
Yes.
Reckless.
Do we? I don't think we have a release date for it. Do we?
I'm not sure.
I don't.
I'm gonna look that up for everyone right now.
Yes. But guys, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, if you liked this book, more power to you. Like, I really think it is just a me problem. And like, do I think that this is the best written book? No. But am I also obsessed with some of the From Blood and Ash books, like the earlier ones, not the later ones? Yes, absolutely. Like, my sister sent me a TikTok and she was like, oh, she's about like, I don't need it to be literary, I need it to be entertaining. And she was sending it in a way of like, she's like that and I'm not. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, I don't need it to be like an amazing book. Like, we are fantasy, we are romantasy girlies here. Like, a book that is not, at the highest standard can still be an amazing, entertaining ride. This just didn't hit for me. Did you find it?
Yes, I did. All right, everyone. July 2nd of this year.
Okay.
So better than next year.
You
yeah.
2 weeks after that for our review.
Yes. So in July, we will be reviewing the second one, and we will open this conversation again. But with that being said, our time is running out for this episode, so that is all we have time for. Again, please like, subscribe. We have an Instagram. If you're traveling, we're on Spotify. So follow us over there.
YouTube,
we have such a great
Spotify,
community.
Instagram,
Come say hi.
TikTok.
Yeah, seriously, come send us a DM, give us a like, comment, comment, and subscribe, everyone.
Yes. Oh, also, if you read this book and also read the Red Queen books, please let me know what you think about it. Like, that correlation, I'm like dying. I've been waiting until after we make this video. I'm gonna dig through the Goodreads reviews to see if I can find someone who read it and liked it that read Red Queen. Because I didn't want it to like influence my thoughts for the book for the video, so I haven't yet, but that's what I'm doing as soon as we get off here.
Yeah, I'll have to read Red Queen in between now and July so I can have a better perspective.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and happy reading.